Hey y'all, it's Megan from Made for Mermaids, and we are sewing another Everly cardigan top today. You need to cut 2 front pieces, mirror images, 1 back piece on the fold, 2 sleeves. I'm doing the basic sleeve with a sleeve cuff, so I also have 2 sleeve cuffs and then a neckband. If you're doing the adult version, you will cut 2 neckbands. I'm sewing the youth version here, so I just have 1 neckband on the fold. And I'm doing the hem option, so I don't have any hem bands. The first step is going to be to put the front pieces right sides together with the back piece along the top, and we are going to sew them together to create the shoulder seams with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side. Next, we're going to add our sleeve. So I have my bodice pieces right side up and the bodices open, and I'm going to match the center of the sleeve to the shoulder seam, and then I'm going to clip each end and then ease the rest of the sleeve in place. And you will stitch the sleeve to the bodice with a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side with each sleeve piece. And then we are going to sew the side seam. So you're going to put the bodice right side together, and you're going to align the front and the back at the raw edges, and you're also going to align the sleeve seam, and you will pin them together from the end of the sleeve all the way to the end of the bodice, and you will stitch down the side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm doing the basic sleeve, so now I'm going to add the cuff by folding it in half and then folding it in half again, and these are right sides together, and then we will stitch them together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then you're going to flip that cuff right side out, and I'm going to pin it right sides together with the sleeve, aligning the center and the side seams, and then you will stitch the cuff to the sleeve with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side with the other sleeve and cuff. Once your sleeve cuffs are sewn on, we are going to press the neckband in half, wrong side together. If you're doing the adult version, then you do need to sew the 2 bands together first. And then we are going to match the center of the neckband to the center of the back bodice with the right sides together, and you're also going to pin the neckband and match the ends of it to the end of the bodice, and then you're going to pin the neckband all on the bodice. Use the markings on the neckband and the bodice, and all along the front of the cardigan is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio, and then you're only stretching where you have those markings on your neckband and bodice. So the front should be 1-to-1, not stretching at all, and then stretching only along the back neckline. And you will stitch that neckband to the main pieces with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then give your neckband a nice press. If you want to, you can press the seam toward the body of the cardigan and top stitch in place. Then we are going to hem the bottom edge by pressing all along the hem, pressing a 1/2 inch toward the wrong side, and then edge stitching the hem in place, and then again giving it a nice press with the iron. The final step is going to be either to add your buttonholes and buttons if you want a functional placket, or I am just doing the faux buttons. So I'm going to overlap my neckband pieces one on top of the other and stitch it down using a stretch stitch. Then I'm using this expanding sewing gauge to mark my button placement, and I sewed my buttons on, and the Everly is complete. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below and I will try to answer. As always, if you make one, we would love to see it shared in our Facebook group or on Instagram at Made for Mermaids, hashtag Everly pattern, hashtag Made for Mermaids patterns.